Go live, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Happy Hour Podcast pregame episode. Of course, I'm Ray. Matt and Tom Nutty couldn't join me tonight, so I am being joined by the High Priest, Socrates. So, it's going to be a fun night. Of course, Charlie Forde, she'll be joining us momentarily right here on a Zoom Live. And actually, she's in the waiting room right now, so I'll go ahead and admit her real quick into the room. So I'll go ahead and admit her. And, we'll go ahead and rock and roll. Of course, we're right here live on YouTube Live. And of course, Socrates will be doing one of his poems momentarily as well. So actually, Socrates, you want to go ahead and just kick off with one of your poems? You haven't been on real quick. So yeah, so we're going to start off hot. We're going to start off with one of your fucked up poems.
Wow.
Hello, how are you?
Hi. I'm just going to see if I can get my mic to sound better. You'll have to tell me if this, when I plug it in, if it sounds any better.
Okay, you don't sound too bad right now.
Okay, good. Let's see if this is, are we better or worse?
Yeah, I think you sound fine. You sound absolutely fine. All right, and what we're going to do real quick is my other host, Socrates, I'm going to go ahead and let him do, he does a messed up poem every time he's able to come and fill in for us. So he's going to go ahead and do one of his messed up poems one time. So Socrates, go ahead, let it rip, buddy.
So, but real quick, so this is a preamble. We're starting off with this.
We're starting. Yeah.
Why not?
Well,
let's see if your bad poem is better than my bad poem.
I call Socrates our artificial intelligence because Socrates, he has something going on with his eyes. So the screen from the computer hurts his eyes. Yeah. Actually, you're not.
I'm not.
You're going to sound like our conscience.
Like, I'm on camera. I don't like Socrates. You're not on camera, buddy. But anyway,
I'm on camera now.
Yeah. Actually,
your arm is.
There you go. You're on camera right now. Just for a second. All right, so Socrates, you have a poem off the top of your head. Why don't you go ahead and let it rip? You haven't been on the show in a couple of weeks. Matt and Tom are off, so you're filling in. So let's let it rip. One of the High Priest poem.
I got a new one for you.
Okay. Oh, new one. Okay.
This one is called "Who is the High Priest?"
Who is the High Priest? Oh, Jesus Christ! It's the man who just sold his house, and they'll never find when they dig up your yard and find that dead prostitute that you murdered and buried in your yard because everybody knows that inside joke that you killed a prostitute and murdered her. Those poor people that just bought that house are going to find her, and they're going to be like, "What happened here?"
Oh, God.
All right, so let it rip. Who is the High Priest?
All right, who is the High Priest? No, I know that. Remember how often it comes promos you go
yeah.
He once prank called a sick kid and told him he was John Cena.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He's fucked 3 bitches that worked at Christina's. He's drank enough booze to fill the Chesapeake Bay. Then he threw a roll of barbed wire at some guy named Ray.
Oh, okay. I don't know who that guy would be.
I had to switch lines because I forgot to say he's the reason you come to the show. He was once acknowledged by Al Snow.
Well, there you go. So,
Hey, still going.
Come on, I gotta get my shit in. You're like a booker. Hey, you guys got 6 minutes. Call the bell. Now you really got me thrown off. I forgot the last line. I gotta start over because I got thrown off.
Go ahead.
Okay.
As the crowd goes mild, let's do it.
He once prank called a sick kid and told him he was John Cena. He's fucked 3 bitches that worked at Christina's. He drank enough booze to fill the Chesapeake Bay. Then he threw a roll of barbed wire at some guy named Ray. He's the reason you come to the show. He was once acknowledged by Al Snow. When he spanks those thotties, he makes them cry. He's a nihilist and he's just waiting to die. Who is the High Priest? I don't know. Go ask Meltzer or Tony. You think I know the name of every obscure indie jabroni? Who's the High Priest? You're asking me? Why? He's just some fucking random podcast indie guy.
And Charlie, of course, you may have talked to Erica over at the Rub PR. Welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. We're not.
Thanks for having
podcast. Me. We're not those guys that sit there. We have like 30 notes lined up. We're going to ask you a bunch of questions. We just come on, we talk, we have fun, and that's just the way it is. And of course, you're in Australia. So
Yeah.
we're technically like
Australia.
we're talking to you like from the future.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
right now it's 7:30 p.m. Eastern time in
And
Baltimore.
it's 9:30 a.m. the next day for me.
Oh man, so we are like we're talking to her from the future. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no robots cooking for you in your house yet, but I'm sure it's coming. Yeah.
it's like so how's the future? Like how's Saturday?
It's sunny with blue skies, but fucking freezing here at the moment.
So it's winter in Australia now, isn't it?
It's just hit like in the last week. Because my birthday was last week, and it always gets cold like the week after my birthday.
Well,
So
happy
my
birthday.
With
Thanks.
Yeah, my birthday was Tuesday.
Oh, happy birthday. Look at us, little Aries babies. Yeah.
I
Ray, you know who you share a birthday with, right?
Oh yeah, Marcus Dowling. Yep, Marcus can
Well,
come
you
down.
know who else?
Yeah. Who
I
else?
just referenced him in the poem.
Oh,
John Cena.
Oh really?
You didn't see
I
it.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
You never knew that.
All right. And
And you know who I share one with?
who's that?
James Hetfield and the GOAT Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady. Yeah. They don't give a shit about you, Socrates.
Still popping.
Yeah.
People would probably popping for that poem so hard right now. They're like,
No,
I don't know if we
I'm
can
pretty
listen to
sure. I'm pretty sure they're not. They probably put their laptop down. We're like, we're done with this show.
Speaking about messy poems, I reckon I could beat that though. I actually have a poem story.
All right, go ahead. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So this was like maybe 3 years ago. I went on a date from Tinder. So the story already kicks off badly. And he was 45 minutes late. I nearly left. I'd bought myself a drink already. And then he rocked up and he still didn't offer to buy a drink. So I bought the next round of drinks and I thought, I'm just going to stay for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to go. And he started to tell me that he wrote poems for girls on Tinder. And I just remember thinking, I'm going to fucking regret this, but okay, give me your poem. And I only remember the first 2 lines because I honest to God blacked out because I've never had anyone say shit like this to me before. It went on for like maybe 6 paragraphs, but all I remember is there once was a girl named Kelly whose vagina was a little bit smelly. And then my brain just like blacked out, listened to it for about 5 minutes, came to and was like, maybe you shouldn't like write poems about girls and their smelly vaginas and tell the other girls that you're dating about it.
So I'm guessing you ran into Socrates on Tinder. That's what happened.
Yeah. Shit, that was his name. Fuck.
Be like, wait, you're looking. Is this guy's name Psycho Trees? What is like? What the hell is
vacation. I'm in Australia.
Yeah. Now, of course, it's winter there, so of course you guys have like kangaroos. Like, are kangaroos? Are they kind of like bears here in America? Do they like hibernate during the winter? Or are they still fixed during the winter as well?
They're out strong year round. Like all of our wildlife, really. There's not really anything that like koalas still around, possums still around, wombats. We don't really have a lot of like, what do you call it? Hibernating animals. We don't really get that.
And like it's crazy because you guys, what was it? Oh shit! A couple of years ago, you guys had like those bad fires or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like were any of those close to where you were? Like when that was all going down?
Oh yeah, it was close to everything. Like everyone could see it because it was in so many cities across Australia. So I remember our skies were like orange and you could just smell the bushfire for like a week. It was insane.
Holy shit.
And I remember having to drive back home and I was maybe like 2 weeks after those fires and I drove through it and it was fucking devastating. It was just black. Like it looked like apocalyptic. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I know California was kind of like that for a while too. Like the
fires. You had the fires not long after us. Yeah.
So
I tried to avoid fire after
after you set yourself on fire.
I didn't set myself on fire.
I was drinking beer as well, but I'm not.
Now with Australia, of course, we had Crystal Russell not too long ago. She's from Russia. Now, Australia, porn out that way, is it looked at differently than what it is in America? Because I know in Russia, Crystal Russell was like, hey, in Russia, it's pretty much illegal. So what's the differences between porn where you are and porn in America?
It's going to be illegal in Ukraine now, too.
So porn is legal to shoot, but illegal to distribute unless you're in the capital where Parliament is, which is like so fucking ironic. Like the Parleys have the one city, like the one state that allow porn to be distributed. And our laws are really old and really bizarre. Like, for example, you're only allowed to make 11 grand per year in porn. Yeah. So no one is really a careerist porn performer here. That's why there's so few Australians that then branch out overseas or they have to move overseas because our laws are just really odd. Like you can do it. Like there's obviously ways around or I wouldn't be doing it, but it's really fucking odd. Yeah.
Sterling Cooper, he's from Australia and he came to America because
yeah. I think he lived in Europe for a while and then he went over.
Right.
Yeah.
Now my favorite band is from Australia. So please tell me you've heard of the Amity Affliction.
Oh yeah, band, right?
Yeah. Actually, one of the guys from Amity Affliction, he's a huge Baltimore Orioles fan because you'll see him wearing Orioles hats all the time, and we're just kind of like, oh man, hey, that's cool. Like,
they recorded some of the albums in Maryland.
Yeah, they record like a bunch of albums in Maryland.
That's tremendous because that's their band.
Yeah.
They're from Brisbane. What part are you?
Oh yeah, where are you at in Australia?
I'm in Melbourne, but I'm from Brizzy. All the best people come from Brizzy.
Now, in Australia, is it like the kind of thing like, like America is set up like you have America, as its own, it's its own country, but then you have states, of course, like Canada, Australia, other places, they have like provinces and stuff, within like with Canada, like how is that like Brisbane compared to Melbourne? Is it provinces? Is it states? How is it different from that? Because America, it's like, okay, America, and then you have Washington, D.C., you have Maryland, you have, all these different 50 states that are there. How is that different over in Australia?
I've never thought about this. It's almost all states except we've got like one territory and we've got like the Northern Territory, and then there's the Australian Capital Territory as well, which is where Parliament is. Like I don't understand the difference though. I don't know why they're still considered states.
Yeah.
We're really backwards here if you haven't worked it out yet. I don't understand it.
And what I'm going to do real quick is right here on our pre-show, we always do Urban Dictionary Term of the Night. So
I'm gonna
do our Urban Dictionary Term of the Night, which is scrunt. And a scrunt is a contraction of a scrawny cunt. Man, Clarissa Flockhart is some serious scrunt. So that is the Urban Dictionary Term of the Night. Scrunt. And now, of course, you do porn in the Czech Republic. So how was the Czechs porn that you did? Of course, Erica, sent that over to us too and said, ask a little bit about that as well. Like, and like I looked some of that up, and that like you can see the differences in that from like some American porn to Czech porn and all that. So how was it like when you did that? Did you shoot that here in America, or did you fly over there and shoot that, or how?
So I was in Europe for a little while and I traveled a little bit and I shot with a bunch of companies, but it's funny, it's not that different to America because a lot of the American companies have a base in Europe. And they're all in different cities, but it's all much of a muchness. Like you're still shooting for the same company.
Yeah.
So it looks quite similar. I think the only thing that's really different that I find really funny when I watch porn from Europe is because a lot of people don't speak English, but they're trying to target an English market. They really struggle to speak English. Sometimes it's like really silent porn. It feels like those mime movies sometimes. You just hear like an occasional moan and that's it. And I love dirty talk. So I'm like, please just like say something. Literally just say the word yes even.
It'd be weird for me because I watch for the dialogue.
Yeah, I like that.
And I read Playboy for the articles.
Yeah. And of course, like with certain, every guest we have on, I always ask about porn parodies. So if there was anything off the top of your mind, if you could do a porn parody for any like movie, show, thing out there, name two off the top of your head that you want to do a porn parody for.
The Big Bang Theory. I don't love watching the show, but I think so much could come out of like parodies for that because the characters are so interesting. And I don't know, maybe like Seinfeld, just because Kramer.
Yeah.
Like he would just be like, he'd be the start of all of them.
It's Kramer, but Kramer who fucks.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, so we're talking to you, Australia. Obviously, 100%, you have to do a Crocodile Dundee.
Oh God.
Parody. So Crocodile Dundee, and at one point they started looking, they're like, that's not a dick. This and like just that whole quote right there, and I'm like, oh, and I got really twisted. I was like, what about Kangaroo Jack? Like I think that was like some sort of like weird like animated movie or whatever, and I'm like, Kangaroo Jack, like that would be an interesting porn parody.
See, like Here's the weird thing. Sometimes I ham up my Aussiness because people love it. So like, why not? But I shot for my first scene for Legal Porno, who's with Mike Chapman. I remember just being in the moment, and I just say shit like all the time. Like I talk smack while I'm fucking. And I remember like thinking in my head, God, it'll be funny if I say crikey. So I was like, oh, crikey in the middle of this porno. And then I was like, surely they'll cut that out. They didn't. It's there.
You just say all crikeys and the whole room stops. Like the section, everybody's just kind of like, wait a minute. Did she just Steve Irwin us? Like what happened right now?
Forever now, like on the internet, I'm always going to be saying crikey while I'm being DP'd by a big black cock. So that's
oh, crikeys.
I mean, crikey is like the right thing to say, I guess, but probably not ideal when you're being filmed for something that's going to be out there for eternity.
Of course, wrestlers, we know that. Oh yeah, and I mean that's the thing. Like us as wrestlers, we have our own lingo. So like you may hear us at some point during this say gimmick or just pop. Like pop pretty much means oh man, like you pop the crowd, like everybody gets so excited. Now, is there a lingo not only in the adult film industry, but is there a lingo that you have from being in Australia of words that you say that like my wife, she's incorporated the wrestling terminology because I was in wrestling for 20 years. Yeah. Me and her have been together for 12. So, it's the whole thing of she'll go to work and be like, oh man, like blah, blah, and say something and she'll be like, oh, I need you to kayfabe this. And her coworker will be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what
is that?
Kayfabe pretty much means if we say kayfabe something, like pretty much like
keep it a secret.
Yeah, keep it a secret. Like, hey, kayfabe this, like, like we're kayfabing these people, like, it's kayfabe. And also kayfabe is kind of like, like we always say in the business, kayfabe is dead because now you see the good guys battling, the good guys traveling with the bad guys and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, in the past, you would keep your kayfabe and all the bad guys would travel together. All the good guys would travel together. So,
it sounds more complicated than Australian slang. We're too lazy, to be honest. Like we just shorten everything.
Yeah, it's like, and that's the thing. It's like you're in a wrestling locker room and you hear that, and God forbid, women like that. I feel bad for female performers in the wrestling business because wrestlers are just so much of horn dogs. Like that's the thing. Like there was always the number one rule of do not bring your wife in the locker room. Like not because I mean that's the thing. It's like as soon as there's a woman, it's like a radar going off. It's like oh, woman in the locker, and then everybody just kind of flocks over. And it's like
there's a couch in a couch in the office. And your name is coming at it. There's something to say.
Yeah. But no, what kind of like fun slang words or like terminology like do you use other than crikeys?
We shorten everything. So a sandwich is a sanger.
A sanger?
Sanger. Yeah. Arvo for afternoon. So let's go have a drink this Arvo or this Arvi.
Okay.
God, what else? There's so many of them. None of us say g'day. It's such a myth. Like I say it when I'm overseas. It just comes out like word vomit, and I don't even mean it because I never say it when I'm actually in Australia. But the second time overseas, I'm like g'day, g'day,
g'day.
I say mate a lot. Like I actually do use the word mate a lot, so that's like probably a legit one. But like you could take any word. Like I reckon you could throw any word at me, and it would probably be just like the same word but shortened with like e or r on the end.
Any word. All right. What about country? Would country be different, or do you guys say country a different way?
No, that one's a boring one, and my plan didn't work.
What about dog? I see your pup sleeping back there in the background. What about dog?
Hopefully she doesn't start humping the couch in the middle of this because she has a real fetish for it, and she does it all the time, and she chooses the second I'm streaming.
She's like, oh, so you're on an interview. Okay. So no one's paying attention to me. And it's just like, hey, watch this.
Yeah. No, I stream on Twitch a lot because I game, and without fail, like I could play any time and not be streaming, and she won't do it. And the second I'm streaming, she's like, all right.
What games do you do the most on Twitch? What are you?
Dead by Daylight and Apex.
Those are some good ones. Now, have you messed around with any of the VR games yet?
No, but I want to because I shot VR porn for the first time when I was over in Europe, and it was weird but fun, like very different.
It is life-changing. Like my wife.
Film, have you ever tried to film it? Like,
No, but I heard that the camera looks kind of like Johnny Five from Short Circuit.
From Marilyn Manson?
Yeah, no, Johnny Five from Short Circuit. Yeah,
but you don't actually look at anyone. That's the weird thing. So there's a person and then there's the camera, but you're not even looking at the camera.
No.
You're looking at like a dot between two cameras. So you're like dirty talking like thin air. And
trust me, you're talking to somebody. Trust me, because like that's the thing. Like the headset's cool for gaming, and like when you pull the porn up on that, it is unreal. And they were talking about something. I saw something online with like a glove that you can put on that like makes you like feel elements in a virtual world. And I was just kind of like, men aren't going to have to leave their house eventually. Like they're going to have like the glove, they're going to have the headset. The Nintendo glove. Version of the Nintendo glove. And it's like, you'll have that. And then it's like, you'll have something that can stimulate yourself. And it's just like, you're just sitting there, just laying back on the couch, like, nah, like, but no, the games are unreal. Like there's one, I just got it because my wife got it for me for my birthday, but there's one called Drunken Bar Fight. And that's I ended up punching my TV by accident at one point. Like it's crazy because you're walking around in the bar and like there's these, and the graphics aren't the best in the world, but like you can sit there, you can just grab bottles of beer, you can drink the bottle of beer, and if you drink enough, everything gets blurry. So like you're walking around and like things are like all blurry. And then you just walk up to someone and just be like, fuck you, and just start hitting them, and everybody just starts coming out of the woodwork. And my favorite thing to do on that is you can pick people up. So like I'll pick people up and I'm throwing them off the side of the upstairs bar. Like just they're trying to crawl. I just pick them up and just launch them off the upstairs bar, and it's like, see you later. And like there's at one point you get a nail gun. You go to the police station, you have a nail gun, so you're shooting and you see the nails go into their face, and they just.
When are there nail guns in a bar fight though?
Yeah, like that's
extreme. I don't carry myself a nail gun when I go out at night to have a few beers, but I mean, if that's your shtick.
I mean, but no, like Twitch and all that, like the VR stuff is getting completely like it's crazy, like the immersive worlds that they have with that. Like they have alt space VR also, which you can basically create your own world. And I've been like, I literally went to the Simpsons house. Someone did like a digital version of the Simpsons house.
That's cool.
And you're walking around in like the kitchen, the living room, like all that shit. And it's completely crazy. And you're like, wow, like this is insane. And you can get on like virtual roller coasters and all that. And it's like, man, but like that headset dies quick. So I want to get like a little attachment that basically comes up over the shoulder and plugs into the side of it, because a battery charge on it will last like a good like hour and a half, 2 hours. But that's something that over time they'll probably improve on and all that.
You know what? It's so immersive though until you want to try and kiss. Like I remember trying to film, they asked me to like mime like I was kissing a guy. But you have to like get your distance perfect, or you look like you're just like licking air, or your face is like smushed into the camera. But I just loved it because I remember doing it and feeling like a dickhead. And then all I could imagine in my head were the guys at home with the VR trying to like kiss me back. And I was like, this is not the realm. I don't think this is where we should do everything else, but kissing doesn't work.
Well, it's crazy because those VR headsets, like they recognize your height. So when you have it on, it recognize how tall you are. So, let's say our height differential, like in the movie, like it'll show your height compared to my height. Like, and it's like, oh, well, like that's crazy that they can record that stuff and that it can sense what your height is and all that. Yeah, I definitely recommend getting an Oculus Quest. Like those things are completely fun.
Yes, I've been looking at one. Yeah.
Definitely get it.
It's on my way.
They're great, and I think you can stream on those. So it
might
be
you can. I've heard about it. Yeah.
Stream via Twitch on that as well. So, but yeah, like now, pretty much, if you weren't in the industry, if you didn't get into the adult film industry, what do you think you would be doing? Like, is there anything?
That's an easy question because you probably don't know this, but I have 2 degrees already, and I already did my dream degree. Yeah. Wow. So I started out when I finished high school. I was a physiotherapist, and I still work to date as a veterinarian. I do like emergency work, and I just juggle 2 jobs because I love them both, and each is like a break from the other. So saving lives one day, getting the next, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, now a physiotherapist. What's a physiotherapist? What exactly?
A physical therapist, I think, is what you call it in the US.
Okay, so that's another thing.
I've been to a
So-
few of them.
Actually, it's funny because I woke up on my birthday and my wife's been screwing me all week, and my back was just so stiff. I'm like, what the fuck? So
What have you done
I
to me?
pulled a muscle at some point in my back. So I've just been like that. Like I even talked to Erica earlier, and I was like, man, I'm not sure if I should drink tonight because I'm on like all these like muscle relaxers and shit like that. And I'm like, I know when I'm done with the show, from me just sitting, like when I go to stand, I'm gonna be like, oh Jesus Christ, why? But also, the 20 years plus of wrestling.
Hey, at least you're not me like a fucking dynamite.
Yeah.
There's a reason I'm standing during the podcast. We got breaking news in the podcast.
Yeah, what's that?
I just peed, so I should be good for the rest of the show. And we got more breaking news.
What's that?
I got a quick story for you since we're still in the pre-show.
Yeah.
About
What's
how,
up?
did I ever talk about how I inadvertently got one of my best paydays in wrestling?
No.
All right.
No.
Well, my buddy DJ, shout out to him. He's got the weed card, so he goes to the dispensary, and he won a raffle yesterday for a free ball.
Okay.
Now, do you remember when Rambo used to do the 50-50 raffles?
Yeah. He would do them every show. There'd be like 13 people in the crowd, and he would still do a 50-50 regardless.
There was one show where my mom won it, and she got $46.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? You just got paid more than I've ever gotten paid for this fame. I made $20 tonight. You just got $46. Fuck my life.
That's crazy. I didn't know it was such bad pay.
Yeah. What's up?
I didn't know that you got paid so little.
Well, that's the thing. Like when you're an independent wrestler, like you got to get your name like out there.
Yeah.
And right now, like there's just so many guys out there. Like we've been in the ring with guys. I'm not sure if you follow wrestling, but like Adam Cole, Drew Gulak, Samu, Nikolai Volkov, James Ellsworth. We've been in the ring with all those guys before they were famous. So that's the whole thing.
Victory over Adam Cole.
Yes, I beat Adam Cole in Maryland title tournament. It was his second match he ever wrestled in Maryland was against me. So I can always sit there and say that, hey, I wrestled that guy when he first started. And it also makes me feel super, super fucking old.
Exactly.
Because I'm like, when Adam Cole started, I wrestled him early.
Well, as I mentioned earlier before we were on the show, I was talking to a girl the other night, and she said when she was a kid, her favorite wrestler was Randy Orton, who's my age. And not even like young Randy Orton, but like 30-year-old Randy Orton, who was the world champion like 9 times. But she was cool. We were at Christina's. Our best payday in the business, though, I believe, I know mine. Well, yeah, I think it was mine, and probably yours was from AWL. Well, you didn't get paid for AWL.
No, yeah.
Okay, but here's a good thing. You know who got paid better than AWL?
Who's that?
A certain girl, Christina.
Oh,
Kayfabe.
No!
Shout out to Good T. Shout out to Good T.
And what
we're not going to go any further than that.
Kayfabe that.
Leave it right there.
And what we're going to do is we're going to get into our fun. I like to call them our blind news article reads. So I just go to Google.
Real quickly, not to interrupt you, before we do that.
Yeah.
She was a much better stripper than a certain other girl that used to work at Christina.
Oh, yeah, you're still holding grudges, huh?
It's hard for me to name names.
I feel like there's a story in there.
Yeah, Christ forbid.
Yeah, if you go back and listen to some of the old episodes, you'll hear.
And so pretty much we're going to do our blind news article read. So what I pretty much do is I go to Google, type in a bunch of weird stuff into Google and put news article after it. And then we just blindly read it on here and react to it on here. And all of these are Australia themed news articles. All of this has happened in Australia. So one of them, of course, here in America, we get a lot of Florida man because, a lot of weird shit happens in Florida. So this first one is man destroys karaoke machine with shovel and is still on the loose. So it says police in Tully, Australia are hot on the trail of a 50-something fugitive who allegedly busted a karaoke machine with a shovel. The suspect showed up at a karaoke party around midnight and smashed the machine several times before leaving. Police report. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, okay, so he has a shovel and so did he go into this bar with a shovel? Like, I don't they're in Australia. Are they just like lenient? Are they just kind of like, all right, yeah, sure, man, just come on in here with your shovel? Because I know
get the shovel.
They really don't care. They really don't care what you bring into a bar.
See, like here in Baltimore, like our gun violence is so bad here in Baltimore. Like if you were to even try to come in with a shovel, they probably tase your ass right at the door. Like, yeah, we're not bringing it.
Here's a question for you, Ray. We're talking about Baltimore. I was downtown last Tuesday, and then I was downtown again last Friday.
Yeah.
And there's 72 hours between when I was down there for Bad Flower and the Orioles. What's the over-under on how many people got murdered? I'm saying
the over-under. I would say between 2 days.
Yeah, 3 days.
I would say in Baltimore, over under 2 days being out there. I would say 8.
Hey, okay,
I would
you're
say
going
8
higher, okay.
because we do about
Okay.
an average of 300 murders a year in
Right.
Baltimore.
If it
So
was
I would say 8.
If it was a busy week, then yeah.
Yeah,
You
it
should
was
be
a
able-
busy
you know,
week
you know how
because you had all those concerts, the Orioles games. I would
you know how
say
you-
8.
You know how you can bet on sports now? The
That's
horse-
wild.
They should have that.
Yeah.
Like, what's the over-under?
Yeah. What's the over under
Baltimore
of someone
shit?
being murdered in
Some guy
Baltimore
comes in, he's
City?
like,
See, I
got
can't even
300 more,
comprehend
I'm gonna hit
it.
like 5 more
It's so
next week.
different.
That's a great gamble. And it says here, it says it is unknown what song was playing during this karaoke rampage.
Yeah, I want to know. You know what? I bet it was Eagle Rock. I bet you it was Eagle Rock because there is this tradition that I swear everyone hates, and I don't know where it came from. We don't know the origin, but when Eagle Rock plays in a bar, all Australians drop their pants and run around with their pants around their ankle until the end of the song.
That sounds like my kind of bar, except Eagle Rock wouldn't be playing. We would just get too drunk for our own good and just drop our pants and take off our shirts and just streak around the bar. And then one, I know. Look, I'm telling you this now. I have never once ripped a toilet out of the ground or ripped a urinal off of the wall at a bar.
Or throwing a picnic table.
That's all urban myth. That's all urban myth. There's no proof or evidence that any ever shows that. So, but no,
What city did they say this happened in as well? Because I feel like it has to be Queensland or the Northern Territory.
I think it was Tully. It said it was Tully, Australia.
I need to look up where Tully is because I bet you it's Queensland.
I got to drop some knowledge on the podcast. I was on vacation. I was in Tully.
Yeah.
And I was in this bar. And I was like, hey,
you weren't in Tully.
I was in Tully. I was Tully.
It's in Queensland.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys got to play some Amity Affliction. They were like, I don't have any Amity Affliction.
So you grabbed a
I grabbed my shovel and I buried him like I was Jim Christian and you were Chase Rollins in EWA.
So all right. So it said that this pop song hating party pooper is described as a Caucasian man in his 50s, approximately 5 feet 7 inches with blonde and gray hair and a mustache. Well, that's kind of hard to tell, like gray and blonde.
Yeah,
like blonde and gray, like that's a very
like Shawn
accurate
Michaels in 2010.
description. But what kind of mustache? Like, is it like
Handlebars, are we talking?
Yeah, like is it like a Stalin mustache? Is it like a Ron Jeremy mustache? Is it like a Mario mustache? Is it like a
Maybe a
Hitler
John
mustache?
Waters mustache.
Like,
I'm surprised they weren't saying mullet as well because it was Queensland. I was right, I guess. I was like, going to guess even closer and say Cairns, and it's very close to Cairns. And there's a lot of mullets and a lot of mows up there.
Now that you just said that, I said, is unknown what song was playing during the rampage. The police are still combing the area in hopes of bringing him to justice. Kearns.com.au reported in a follow-up. So, yeah, so it's right there in that area. And it says, this is not the first time that karaoke brought out the worst in a person. Oh, God. Oh, shit.
We're going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, the plot thickens. In September 2012, 2 men in China were hacked to death. What? Whoa. What? Two men were hacked to death with a meat cleaver after allegedly criticizing a father for letting his toddler hog the microphone. What? All right. So we need to go to these bars. Like, what person in the world takes their toddler into this place? Like, did this happen at Chuck E. Cheese? That's what I want to know. Like, was this like a child's birthday party and these guys were just drinking and they're mad because the little kid's singing all these songs on his birthday and then dad's like, oh, I'm going to show you. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, all right, I need it. So,
China's a hell of a place.
Oh, Jesus Christ. In July 2012, William Henry Aller Sr. was ordered to stand trial for allegedly shooting his 50-year-old son. Wait, how old was he?
Wow.
Like, if he shot his 50-year-old son,
70.
like for shooting his 50-year-old son, William Carr Aller Jr. for singing the karaoke version of a Kenny Chesney song. So apparently, yeah.
I'm not a big Kenny Chesney fan.
Like, what is it with all this karaoke murder? Like, I never knew there was this much rage for
No,
karaoke.
I just love it. I can't imagine shooting anyone.
Yeah,
it's like a factor.
And March 2012, Jeffrey Thomas, 28, was charged with battery and disorderly conduct after employees at Applebee's in Melbourne, Florida cut him off when he started stripping while he was singing karaoke. Okay, I understand that. That's something that I would do. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would have disorderly conduct with it, but I could see me or my crew starting to.
Song you were singing.
No, it does not say what. I want to know what songs did all this. Like what
I know.
Like, yeah, like
I hope he was stripping to either one of two songs. I Touch Myself by the Divinyls or Just a Gigolo by David Lee Roth. It's gotta be one of the two.
There'd be a bit of Mariah Carey surely setting some people up.
Yeah, Mariah Carey's Christmas song. That's what the meat cleaver one happened to. Like
at the high note. Yeah. At the real high point, that was when it all went down. Yeah.
I once broke a jukebox because we were drunk, and it was at one of the bowling. When I was younger, I worked at a bowling alley. And it was at one of the bowling alleys I worked at, and we went in there and we drank like pitchers and pitchers and pitchers and pitchers of beer. No. And I remember we put on Ricky Martin's "She Bangs" on the jukebox, and every time it said "She Bangs," I would aggressively just hump the machine with like my stomach and my just thrusting it down, and then eventually it just went off, and it never worked again. And I remember like it stopped, and I looked around because like I looked up the footage on the cameras. Like the next day, you see me just sit there and look at the jukebox. I just kind of look around. I slowly turn around and walk away. And my boss couldn't figure out why the jukebox stopped working. And I was like, I don't know. And they were like, weren't you here drinking last night? And I was like, I had nothing to do with that. Like, yeah, it's Ricky Martin. And wait. All right, there's another one. So in December 2011, Isaiah Johnson, 20, allegedly started throwing punches in a Sandusky, Ohio club after patrons started booing. So I guess, he sucks so bad. Like, I mean, imagine that. Like, you're in there drinking and dude's just stinking it up on the microphone and you're just like, boo, you suck. And dude just like comes off the stage and just rips somebody in the face with a punch. Like
he's like the Gigi Allen of karaoke. I hope he showed on the stage when he was done.
So speaking of that, you're of course, Australia, you travel to a lot of places. What's some of the wildest things you've seen in your travels, or at least in Australia or any other travels that you've had going around?
What's the wildest thing I've seen?
Yeah, like what's something that you sit there and you just kind of look around and you're like, is this really fucking happening right now?
I remember being in Thailand and there was this pigeon. This is really morbid though. It was like in the middle of the road and we went to try and like usher it off and a car just came along and ran over it, but I didn't know that birds popped like balloons until that day.
They do.
It was so fucked up. I did not expect it. I'm a fucking vet. I thought I would know these things, but no. That was pretty weird. That was wild.
Well, it's funny because we were going to it was me and my friend Chris. And shout out to Chris if he's watching. He normally watches live. But no, not Benoit is not watching live. Benoit's not watching from anywhere.
He's like Socrates stole my fucking finish. Now I'm going to the podcast, and I will acknowledge him just like Al Snowden after I kill my family.
And we were going to our high school graduation practice run. And he picks me up and we're in the car, we're driving, and there's a bird that's just sitting in the middle of the road. I'm like, dude, there's that bird right there. We're going to run over that bird. He's like, oh, don't worry. It'll move. Bird didn't move. Just heard the pop and all you saw was feathers just go flying. And I looked at him like, dude, that bird totally didn't move. He's like, well, it's not doing a lot now. And then we just kept doing, like, have you ever had a bird hit your car while you were driving? That's crazy.
Thank Christ. I would panic. I think I would swerve off. I have had a kangaroo hit my car though. That did a lot more fucking damage.
How does a kangaroo hit your car? Like,
so if you're driving dawn or dusk, they're all moving because that's when they eat. So I was driving in the country and I was going like 30 k's below the speed limit because I knew it was route area, but they came out of nowhere and I managed to brake hard enough that I missed the first route that went past, but the second one was the male and he completely totaled my car. I'm really lucky he like missed the windshield. Otherwise he would have gone into my friend in the passenger seat. Like roos are fucked hitting them. They're so powerful.
Oh yeah. Like they're like, and also like kangaroos are really like ripped as well. Yes. Like it's
and
crazy.
The boys especially, they weigh a shit ton. It's like a tank hitting you. Yeah.
Well, how they're more ripped than most guys in the AEW roster.
Yes, they're more ripped than most guys in the wrestling business.
Times it by 20 and you might be close. Yeah.
Yeah. How often do of course, we say you're at your house right now. So how often do you go, like, can you look out back and see kangaroos out back?
Like not in the city, like I'm central Melbourne, but if I went to like the outskirts of Melbourne, I would see kangaroos. If I go to Canberra, which is like capital city of Australia, I'd see kangaroos pretty easily. Like they're everywhere. They're considered like a pest almost here.
Yeah, that's kind of how deers are here. And when you say that, because I've hit a deer before when I was coming home from a wrestling show in West Virginia, and people were flashing their headlights really bright. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what are these guys doing? Like, I'm up on the side of a mountain in West Virginia somewhere, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then you see 5 deer standing in the road, and I'm like, oh shit! So I go to slow down, and the 6th one runs out, and I hit the deer, and it goes spinning, and it smacks a tree and falls down, and I'm like, oh shit! And then at that point, all the other deer's heads just pop up and look at my car, and I'm like, yep, fuck this! I've seen Final Destination. I'm out of here. Like, these
they're plotting now.
Yeah. Now they're mad. So, and that's kind of the way it is here. Like, that's why they have like, deer hunting season and all that, because deer just get to be pests down this way. But I don't like, I've never seen a kangaroo. Like, I've never actually physically, like, I've never seen one at a zoo or anything like that. But if I lived in an area where kangaroos were, I think I'd be one of those guys that would get drunk
and go box it.
And not go box it, but I won't want it to carry me around in his pouch. Like, that would just be
you would die.
Like,
you would die. I'm just gonna when guys in the country go to like hunt roos, and pigs are also like a massive pest.
Oh, so they hunt kangaroos up there?
Yeah, but they literally put steel plates on the dogs to protect them. That's how much they can fuck up a person. Yeah.
Holy shit! So that dog's like wearing like medieval armor, like one of those like, little like fucking mask on the front, like chain.
They wear full blown like steel plates and send them out to like try. It's insane.
I never knew that. Holy shit! And like that's the thing. Like, there was a video that went around not too long ago of a guy who actually fought a kangaroo because like his dog ran up to the kangaroo. Like, the kangaroo grabbed.
I saw that video. Fucking lucky. It takes one hit and they crush your chest. They're insane.
Oh shit! Like, I now want to see a movie. It's like the John Wick of kangaroos. Like, someone like it loses its baby to like a hunter, and like this kangaroo just goes around like just hunting down.
This is giving me Sharknado vibes. I don't know about this.
Kangaroo Jack the Awakening.
Well, here's a better one. A kangaroo walks into a bar and he wants to start singing karaoke.
Yeah.
They tell him he can't. And I'm just tying things together here. And so the kangaroo goes home and he gets a shovel. Could you imagine if you were the bar owner and the kangaroo walked back into your bar with a shovel?
I think if I was a bar owner and a kangaroo came into my job in general, I'd just be like, you can have it. Anything in here is yours.
But especially
just take a kangaroo. Kangaroo with a shovel will be a definitely like terrifying kangaroo. And here's
would it though, because their little legs are so tiny? I think I'd just laugh. Like, what are they bringing it in with? Their like little T-Rex arms would be like pulling a shovel in.
It's in his pouch. Yeah, the shovel was in his pouch. He just comes hopping in with the shovel in his pouch, and he just pulls it out, and it's like, welcome to the jungle. You're gonna die.
But with the T-Rex arms.
Yeah.
So like this.
Swinging it like this. All right. So the next blind article read basically is child expert grants dying boy's wish to have sex. All right.
Lord.
So,
please tell me it wasn't what Jerry said.
This feels very Jerry Springer.
Child psychologists in Australia have condemned a colleague's decision to allow a 15-year-old boy with terminal cancer to have sex with a prostitute before he died. 15's old enough. The case has sparked an intense ethical debate while arousing considerable public sympathy. The identities of the boy who died last week and that of the psychologist have not been disclosed, as the specialist concedes on what happened was illegal. Details of the extraordinary case emerged when the psychologist anonymously contacted a Sydney radio station days after his patient's death. Without speaking to his parents, the boy had apparently told staff at a Sydney hospital believed to be the Royal Alexander Children's Hospital of his desire to lose his virginity. So that dying boy's wish is like, I just want to have sex. Like, just, I don't care. Like, nurse, come here, nurse. Like, help me out here.
The kid was like 12. Like,
no, it says when the boy's psychologist canvassed opinion among colleagues, he said that there was an initial suggestion to organize a whip around wait, a whip around to pay for a prostitute. Is whip around an Australian word? Like I've never seen whip around before. Is that something that is that like
I've heard of it. I thought it, but I don't hear it very often. It's not like a big. I wouldn't say it's like specifically Australian term.
Gotcha.
But I think it's just like a fast, like you arrange it really quickly, I think is what it means.
Gotcha. Okay, so a whip around to pay for a prostitute. The idea was rejected on legal grounds. Well, I guess so. Like they definitely would be. But a group of friends were later allowed to escort the boy out of the hospital and take him to a prostitute in King's Cross, Sydney's red light. Wait, they have a red light district in Sydney?
Yeah, but it's not as red light as you think. It's like it's just like a square.
It says his parents were not consulted. That's totally my friends. Like, yeah, my group of friends would do that. Like if one of us were dying and we're like, we need to have sex before we die, like they'd be like, all right, say no more. Let's drive down to the block. Have you ever been to Maryland or Baltimore area or anything like that? In Baltimore, we have what we call the block, and the block used to make tons of money way back in the day, and that's where all the strip clubs are. Like you have all these strip clubs. Larry Flint's Hustler Club. Larry Flint's Hustler Club is the nicest one there, and there's so much drugs and just everything else like nonsense that go on at the block. And then like they were saying for I think just recently, like within the last 2 months, that they were trying to get rid of the block.
They're trying to make it all close at 10 p.m. But it didn't
they were trying to make it close at 10 p.m. And someone was like, who the hell wants to go to a strip club and leave at 10? Like I'm getting to the strip club at 10.
It's like COVID lockdowns pre-COVID.
I may or may not have spent the jewel box one night. I'm not going to confirm it tonight. But anyway, this kid from Australia, he got more than a lot of Young Bucks fans. He didn't die a virgin.
I mean, here's the thing, like, you know, so in Australia, so you basically let people come and take, you know, a dying child to see a prostitute, and also there's a lot of rage for karaoke. Like, there's like I'm thinking like this dying boy's wish should have just been like to be able to sing karaoke and hack somebody to death with a meat cleaver. Like, hey,
and people probably would have accepted it more, which is insane. Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, you know what? Let's just sing karaoke and just, you know, I'm just gonna hack this guy right here. Just halfway to death.
Sing karaoke, he'd have to sing an Amity song. You know what song it would be?
Oh, what's that?
Death's Hand.
Death's Hand.
Because you know why? He held Death's Hand this evening. Okay,
and of course, we're right here on YouTube Live with Charlie Forde. And shout out to Instant History Tattoo and Art Studio. They've done all my tattoo stuff. Shout out to those guys. Thank you for the shirt.
That did my hair 3 years ago. Gypsy tattoo. I don't know her name.
And
which is your favorite tattoo? Which is your favorite tattoo?
Mine. Well, I have a couple actually. This one right here, if you can see the eyeball with the tentacles coming out of it. I like that one. That one's the most recent one, which is Kraken attacking a diver underwater,
cool.
and he's
That's
pulling.
huge.
And I'm gonna try to get it to where you can. But I have one on my leg, if I can get it up here to where you can see it. But that one right there, that one is without question my favorite one right there. And what that is that's an it's the American flag with 1968 1969 style boots and helmet. My dad was in Vietnam and he got 3 Purple Hearts over there, so it's the flag with, you know, that stuff, and it's dated from the years he was in there, and it has his Purple Heart, his Vietnam, you know, medal and all that. So do you have any tattoos?
I don't. I have virgin skin, and I had this rule where I was like, if I love a tattoo for a year, then I'll go get it. And I have had tattoo ideas last the year, but it's just so rare for me to have nothing now that instead I like just paint art instead.
Not having a tattoo is
I might as well put it on a
Yeah.
Cool tattoo though.
My favorite is the Megadeth one, just because Dave Mustaine said it looked like I was in prison. Do you know who the band Megadeth are?
No.
Do you know who Metallica are?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Dave Mustaine, he used to be in Metallica, but he's in a band called Megadeth now.
Okay.
I got a Megadeth tattoo, which looks like it was done with a red Sharpie.
Yeah, I could have did a better version of that.
I was high, I was 23. I met Dave at a book signing, and he looks at it, he's like, nice tattoo. Did you get it in prison?
Actually, I had a junkie on the side of the road in Baltimore do it. Thank you.
I could have done it Mr. B's, but you know.
And
what can you say?
What I'm going to do,
and that's why Mr. B's is no longer in business, because they did tattoos like this.
Yeah, they went out of business a while ago.
I know.
And what
Did
I'm
I
gonna,
the story about my last tattoo I got there? I didn't pay for it.
really,
Yeah, the three Chinese,
Look at
the
you
three
go.
Asian kanji
Yeah.
symbols. I left, and the guy calls me on the phone. He's like, "Hey, you didn't pay for the tattoo." I'm like, "Yeah, I did. I paid $100. That's what it was." He's like, "No, you didn't pay." I'm like, "Well, I'm not coming back."
and then they closed the
And
next
then they
day.
closed.
Yeah, that was the last
Yeah.
$100 paid.
Free tattoo.
So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to shout out our featured current beer, which is by Devil's Backbone Brewing Company. It's called Vienna Lager. So make sure you go out and pick up some Devil. Yeah, Vienna Lager.
Is it from Germany?
Yeah.
So it is. Let's see, mild toasted and caramel notes. This one, for some reason, I like it. It's good, but it doesn't. You know how most beers have that cool little description
Yeah.
on the bottle or on the can. It
Mm.
doesn't have like a cool little description.
It's
So I
like
was-
citrusy
yeah,
wood
yeah.
notes. Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
best when you drink it while taking muscle relaxers.
It's it is the best when you take it with muscle relaxers, but it's very like I find like it kind of falls on the same level as Bud Light and all that. And of course, since I am on muscle relaxers, I
It's
will not be
definitely
doing
German.
our
Oh,
featured
shot.
shot,
What
which
is
is
the shot?
10 High Sour Mash Whiskey.
10, huh?
So, and
Yum. I'm
Yeah,
such
yeah,
a whiskey
yeah.
girl.
and what we're
American
gonna
native
do
spirit.
real quick is after this.
And I won't be doing this either because I'll die.
Oh
so
yeah,
just for
you
the
can't
rest
drink
of-
anymore
Yeah.
because you drank your liver to like
Well,
pretty much cardiac arrest. So what we're gonna do real
and
quick,
also, I'm
we're
not
gonna
Mike Blair. Also, I'm not
Yeah.
Mike Blair.
we're gonna get into our games
Oh,
real
it wasn't
quick.
Mike, I love you.
So we're gonna start off.
Are we doing a raffle?
No, we're not gonna do a raffle.
Oh, fuck, dude.
You're not winning anybody. There's no
Damn
raffle.
it.
So have you ever played What Do You Mean?
Oh, I've seen it. I've never played it.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, let me go ahead and get it ready. I have a card that I'm gonna show. Everything's gonna pop up on the screen, so you'll be able to see it on the screen.
In honor of our guest, you have to do this in an Australian accent.
I will not be able to do that. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this image up, and then you let me know if you could meme this photo. What would you meme that as?
When your mom opens the toilet door on you.
Mine is when you go into a karaoke bar and no one likes what you're singing, and then you go outside and decide it's shovel time. What about you, Psycho? What do you see when you look at that? And of course, for everybody listening at home, it kind of looks like a taxidermist fox sitting scaredly on a metal chair.
But a very bad taxidermy.
Yeah.
This fox is still not as stiff as Buzz Striker.
All right.
Could also be when a kangaroo walks into a bar with a shovel.
Yeah,
People look
yeah, and that does look like
by
it is
the way-
pretty bad
by the
taxidermy.
way, fuck Buzz Striker.
And then what we're gonna do is, so we got that. So we're gonna go into a game called Incoherent. So pretty much, I'm gonna show you 3 cards. They're gonna be in drunken lingo. And you
Oh,
need to sound
God.
them out and try to figure out what they say. And I'll give you some hints. So let me go ahead and get the first one ready.
I've heard this game. I've heard you need to be really Texan to like
Yeah.
get that. Except I
So
can't
here-
speak in a Texan accent, so we'll see.
So here's this one. So this is the first one.
Hamid Ati. Oh my lord, I don't know what it is. Hamidati. Is it supposed to be like dirty or is it PG?
This one is dirty. They could be either or. I always do a little bit of a mix of everything. And this one of the hints is labeled father. So it could also be labeled as father.
Can I say it right?
Kamhidati. Kamhidati.
Oh, I know.
My God, I can't get this one.
And then
I think I know this
pretty much another hint is Darth Vader's last words.
I don't even, you know what? I love Star Wars, but I haven't watched it in so fucking long. Does that make me a bad Star Wars fan? That makes me sad.
Actually, it's kind of weird because it's not his last words, but it kind of, ties in with father. It is call me daddy.
Oh my God, yeah.
Call me daddy.
She should rather
Yeah.
be a porn star.
Yeah.
Come on.
So that was the first one. So the first one was call me daddy. And then, so let me go ahead and get this
See,
one.
I don't call anyone daddy, so that's probably why I didn't get it.
This one is also a dirty one as well. So let me just go ahead, get that up, and then I will share screen with that one. Boom, hit it. All right. So this one's up right here. And once that little stuff pops, what do you think?
Trojan condoms.
Oh, you're
Trojan condoms. Yeah, Trojan condoms. I'm gonna go with that. Fuck it.
Yeah, Trojan condoms. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying? That is
yeah.
what it is. 100%. You got it.
We
Trojan
don't even
condoms.
have them in Australia, I don't think.
And the hints were rubbers and unlocks the warrior in all of us. Those were the hints for that one. And then we have one more. So yeah, so you did good on that. Some of them are very, very, easy when you look at them. And of course, May 7th, we're going to be coming to you in 2 weeks on May 7th, right here on YouTube Live for the Happy Hour Podcast 100th episode, which we are going to be playing this game in our first ever Happy Hour Pod Rumble. 30 of our former guests will be coming back in a Royal Rumble style. All 30 of us are going to be on. We're going to be playing Cards Against Humanity, and we're going to be playing this game. And the only way
Fuck,
to be
I love Cards
eliminated,
Against Humanity.
yeah, and we're going to be doing that next. This segment's called Ode to Humanity, so it ends with Cards Against Humanity. So we stopped doing 5-second rule. It got a little cheesy really quick. So we moved it on to something else. But here,
it back.
yeah,
I'm demanding
Socrates has demands.
No more poems.
All right, so here's the last one that you have. What do you think this one is?
Kinshrinkan. Oh fuck, that's tricky, that one.
It's dedicated hydration.
Something about peeing. Pin shrink.
The surest way to find yourself waking up in a strange place sometime later.
Feels like a one-night stand, but I can't pick what that would then end up being.
Accepting a drink from Bill Cosby.
Put it this way: if you were like, let's say, if we went out to the bar and you drank a lot of drinks at one time, what would that be considered?
Oh, okay. I know it.
God, I don't know it.
Ray, I know it.
You want to take a stab at it, Psychro?
Yeah, stab.
Binge drinking.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yes.
Anybody knows that.
So binge drinking, that is 100% what it is. And Socrates doesn't even see the screen, and he was like, "Oh, that's
look
binge
at him,
drinking."
guy. It's like I'm all over it.
All right, so now we're going to end with Cards Against Humanity. So we do a little bit different on the show because obviously, we can't throw all these cards up on it. So what we do is we do it to where you randomly answer it. So we're going to read off the face card. And then what we want you to do is we want you to think of a lucky number, one lucky number that you think would best answer that card, and we'll reveal it. And if you don't like it, you get one rebuttal. So
all right.
The first one is rub-a-dub-dub blank in a tub, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. So what number? 4. Sorry, so 4. So boom, there we go. All right, so rub-a-dub-dub, some kind of Birdman in a tub. Are you satisfied with that, or do you want to do a rebuttal?
Let's go with 2.
2? All right.
Yeah.
So 1, 2. All right.
Wait. Coco Beware was in the tub? Was Frankie there? Oh,
no, rub-a-dub-dub, Auschwitz in a tub.
Auschwitz is more like a shower.
Are we still talking about that China news article?
Yeah.
That got dark real quick.
And
only on the Happy Hour podcast.
So some of the answers that you could have had that you missed out on were the world's largest baby weighing over 700 pounds,
okay,
ejaculating live bees, and the bees are angry, and gay aliens. So those are some of the other ones.
So literally all of them but the one that I first chose were pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm great at this game. A+.
So we're gonna do another one.
Now, are gay aliens on the anal probably, or are those straight aliens?
I don't know. Those gay aliens got mad at the karaoke machine because they weren't playing enough Ricky Martin.
No, they weren't playing enough UFO.
And
shout out to Eddie Trump.
In the 7th circle of hell, sinners must endure blank for all eternity. What number do you think? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
1.
1. All right.
I know what mine is.
So in the 7th circle of hell, sinners must endure some cracker ass motherfucker for all eternity.
That sounds about right. Oh my God, could you imagine? That actually would be the bitch. I take literally anything else. Shove whatever you want in whatever orifice you want, but don't give me some
Cracker ass mother. We were playing this game one night, and we were playing with one of our friends, and their grandmother was playing, and they got that card, and they were like, "Some cracker ass motherfucker," and just hearing like an old, like 70-year-old woman say that, we were all just cry laughing, hearing her say it, and like we couldn't go on after that. This old lady is the best. Now, are you satisfied with that, or do you want to?
Yeah, I'm satisfied with it.
All right, so some of the other answers you could have chose were an unstoppable wave of fire ants, trees with human skin.
Okay.
This kind of comes in what we were talking about earlier, exploding pigeons, owing a lot of money to some very bad people,
Been there.
and actually getting shot for real.
Compared to how you got to hell? Like,
Yeah, it's like, isn't this how you got here? You get off the bus and it's like, so how did you get into hell tonight? I actually got shot.
yeah.
Now, Charlie, what all is coming up? Like, do you have like any new scenes coming out? Do you do any strip club tours? I know like some adult film stars, they also, dance and, go on tour with dancing. Do you do any of that stuff as well?
So that's about to come into the works. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it yet. What I will say is the Australian version of the AVN Expo is coming up called Sexpo, and let's leave it at that. Enough. My scene with Rocco Siffredi, I think, is going up with Evil Angel soon, which is wild. Although it wasn't with Rocco because he fucking bruised his hip 2 days before I was supposed to shoot. So I ended up dominating like one of my really good friends in front of Rocco, which is fucking terrifying, trying to slap a girl up in front of like the best man who slaps girls up in like the world. Yeah, he made me do some pretty wild shit to her. So that's coming out really soon. That'll be fun.
Nice. And with being in the industry, what would you say is probably your worst injury that you've sustained? Have you sustained any injuries? Well,
Oh yeah, I for sure have. I've had a few different ones. I remember shooting a 6-girl orgy for girls out Western Australia, and when you eat a girl out on porn, you probably know this, but like you have to keep your face as far away as possible from the pussy and stick your tongue out as close as possible to the pussy. So like everything is like to the side.
Yeah.
Because that's natural.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you do it for like an entire day, who figures you like rip the little, it's called a frenulum, but that little thing that holds your tongue down to the roof of your mouth,
Yeah.
it like rips. I was in so much pain for 3 days because I like tore my tongue basically from eating out pussy too much.
Oh, you've done that before?
Yeah.
No, all I heard was it was at a stripper's ass, and I'm just kind of like this.
Like enough said.
Yeah, can't confirm or deny if she's dead in your backyard or your own house, but I'm sure it's a dark story somewhere associated with that.
Dance and she fucking shoved her ass in my face, and I had my tongue out. And the next day, I was trying to eat a cheeseburger. And I'm like,
Hey, why does this cheeseburger taste like ass?
Well, that too. Literally for like a week, I was talking like this, like I just got my tongue pierced. And my mom asked me what happened. I was like, stripper's ass.
Now, aside from that, is there any have you ever in a scene with multiple people, has anything ever gone wrong with any of those?
No, but I remember rocking up one day to a legal porno shoot, and they all do pee scenes, right? And I knew that was coming. But we started to shoot the scene, and then they did this hard cut, and then the director turns to me with his Russian accent and goes, "Next, the boys are going to pee into your ass. You're going to push it out into a cup, drink it." And I was like, I mean, like, I'm pretty fucking game. I'll do anything, but you could have told me yesterday. So I would like just have like a rough idea that this is going to happen. Having your ass peed in, so they want to do like a cum shot afterwards, but if you do the cum shot without dealing with the pee in your butt, it's just like a watery mess. So like we call a cut, and then I'm literally just standing in the corner kind of like trying to like get it all out before it was weird. I was not prepared for this at all. That was the moment where I was like, you know what, I think I've hit hardcore. Like I
I think this is it.
Now, you know what Nietzsche said, right? They say evil men have no songs. How do the Russians have songs?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like she walks around a corner and there's Putin standing there, and now they will piss in your ass. It's like, wait,
we pee in your ass.
Now, is there
we pee in your ass.
Is there anything that you like? What's your line? Like, is there anything that they were like, hey, will you do this? And you're like, absolutely fucking not. Like,
I want to say I'll never say no to anything, but there's one that I really don't think I could ever do it. Like, you'd have to be a pretty special fucking person for me to do it. And I think it's because I've been a physio in hospitals and I've also been a veterinarian, and I've seen a lot of shit in my life. And it's usually like people and animals that are unwell. It's not even like poop that you would consider playing with. It is like unwell poop. And I just don't think I will ever be in a place where I will do scat play. I think that's reasonable. I think that's pretty wild if that's my only limit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, because we have all this thing going on with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and there's a whole talk of her shitting in his bed, and I'm just kind of like, did that go? Yeah, but did that go?
It's different to eating
it.
it.
Yeah, like, did that go any farther? Like, was that just the normal? Like, they're just saying it like it's casual now, but was that the normal? Like, they bang it out, and then like at the end she just shits in the bed, like that's her calling card or something like that. Like, oh, well, we'll do this.
Marking a territory.
Yeah, like that's the whole thing. And it's like, what? Like, well,
bed shit or Amber, that's what they call it.
Yeah, bed shit. And of course, you did the veterinarian stuff. So, what all did you get to see with that? I'm sure that's crazy as well. Like, what's some of the craziest things you saw with, and did you see all animals, like of all kinds, or were you just mainly like, was it mainly just dogs, cats, rabbits,
kangaroos, maybe?
So when I was a student, I did a lot of exotic work. So I flew to South America and worked in South America with exotic animals, and I got to help anesthetize tapirs. And every time I travel, I try to volunteer in a sanctuary. So I've done elephants. I've helped anesthetize. You know what the coolest animal in the world is?
What's that?
Penguins.
They look pretty cool. My wife loves penguins.
They are, no joke, the softest thing you will ever feel in your life. I can't even describe it. I've never felt anything like it. It feels like you're touching air. And they never stop swimming, even when you anesthetize them.
Really?
So at Adelaide Zoo, they had this penguin and they wanted to MRI its foot because it had a sore foot, but they couldn't fucking MRI the bugger because they never stopped moving. So he just had to deal with it.
He's still just treading water.
They were prepared to pay thousands for this animal, but he's like, nah, can't stop swimming.
Me and my wife went to the Baltimore Aquarium one day, and we always go to the penguins exhibit because she loves penguins. And I forgot what kind of penguin it was, but it was like one of the littler, smaller penguins,
like a fairy penguin, maybe.
And we're sitting there and we go to take a picture in front of the penguins, and the penguin notices that we're trying to take a picture, and it literally swam over and it started looking like this, back and forth to the camera. So you get our actual genuine reaction, once we noticed he was doing it, of us just kind of smiling like, oh man, this is cool, because he darted past all the other ones and came over to the mirror and just started looking around and moving his head around.
So
I'm
cute.
One time I was at the zoo and the chimpanzee exhibit.
Yeah.
One of the chimps threw shit at me. And they had the glass there.
I mean, can we blame him?
Chimp just threw shit at me.
Yeah.
I'm going back to my roots.
That chimp is a great judge of character. That chimp is like, oh, Socrates, all right. What's some of the worst animal injuries that you've ever seen?
It's pretty common. Sometimes little doggos get hard-ons and then they can't get them back in, but if they stay out for too long because the owners are embarrassed or whatever and don't take it to a vet fast enough, they can need amputating. But you know what?
Really?
I've seen it in I haven't seen it, thank Christ I didn't see it, but men like to stick their dicks in really stupid things.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we've had a couple of stories.
I was talking about this in a podcast the other day. My friend and I were talking about what we would do if we had a penis. But there was a guy at one of the hospitals that I worked with, and this story made its way through the grapevine like it always does when people come in with crazy shit. And he decided to stick his dick in a bull bar, and then it got stuck. And he got embarrassed and he didn't do anything about it and left it for 7 days until it went black. And then he was like, okay, now I should probably see a doctor. And then he came to my hospital and he got flown on to get his dick amputated.
Oh, yeah. We did our blind news article reads, a couple of them that we had a few episodes ago. One of them was a guy who got a battery stuck in the head of his penis.
I heard you talking about this on your last one.
Yeah, he and then there was a guy who also used spray foam. If you've ever seen that spray foam, it's like insulation. He had erectile dysfunction, so he stuck the nozzle of it in his penis and pretty much sprayed Fix-A-Flat into his penis. Like the kid, and I'm like, how is that supposed to work? Like that shit's solid. Like it is insane.
At least he wasn't sticking a gerbil up his ass.
Yeah, like it's insane what people do for pleasure. Like it is absolutely.
You know what the stupidest thing I ever stuck my dick in was?
What's that?
My ex-girlfriend.
Well, I like that. That's the thing. Like, have you ever done a scene and someone asks you to just put like something in yourself, and you're just kind of like, I'm not doing that. Like, no, not gonna happen.
I'm always the person who's like, maybe I should put that thing in there. It's always me. I'm the problem child.
Here's a scene when you get done. Look, and our comedian friend sent us this. Look up a scene called Walrus Penis Anal.
I already did because I watched your last one. I'm all clued up.
Oh my god, that
wild.
That dude had the saddest asshole I have
I
ever
know,
seen.
that's what I thought. It looked like it was depressed. It was like, oh, not again.
Yeah, like I've never
seen anyone flap it like a ventriloquist mouth kind of vibe. Like that's what
well, it's
just
funny.
Put his hand back there and just went like bloop.
Well, it's funny because our regular host Matt, you know, he like what drew the line for him.
My dog's trying to kill herself now. You asked for that yourself.
Yeah, well, we started talking about the scene, and the dog's like, I remember her watching this. I'm out of here. I'm traumatized forever. I can't go through this again. But what drew the line for him was the dude smacking his own ass. And I'm like, wait, so throughout this whole thing of what's going on, the dude smacking his own ass is what does it for you? Him like inching down on this like ridiculous, like what did it for me was his meat flaps that he had on his asshole. Like I was like,
when he slapped it and it kind of reverberated like like a drop in the ocean. Yeah.
I'm gonna have
that was when I was like,
what the hell is going on?
So if you watched our last episode, did you watch the scene from Brand New Cherry Flavor?
I did. I was like, what am I watching?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I want to go back and watch more of that series now because I need to know how they got there.
Yeah, I want to know how they got there, but I think I just want someone to tell me how they got there.
Yeah. Well, when you do it, like, did you see the scene before that when she births the kitten?
Yeah, like, no, that's where I started it from.
Yeah.
So did I have to go further? Don't tell me I had to go further than that.
No, that's where it started. There's a scene later on where so you didn't see the actual other scene where like she has sex with the guy with her side rib vagina or whatever, and like the dude pretty much, and this is a spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen Brand New Cherry Flavor on Netflix. The dude sits there and he takes his fist and he shoves he fists her side vagina. So pretty much like his fist is like to her rib cage right here. And he's just kind of and I'm just kind of watching him like it like isn't like he punching her heart right now. Like he's like punching her heart. And I'm just kind of like, what am I? And my wife saw it and she was so mortified when she watched it, showed it to me, and I was like, okay. And she was like, she's like, wait, like
I should have more of a reaction.
She's like, why is your reaction weird? And I'm like, you do realize that I've been to the deepest, darkest parts of the web. Like I have seen shit that normal people probably should not ever see.
No.
Like, so
See, I didn't realize it was a side vagina. I thought that like my naive brain thought that it was like, you know, when people have colostomy bags. Yeah. I thought that maybe she'd like taken a colostomy bag off, and it was just
no, it was definitely a side vagina because the dude comes into the room and she takes off her robe, and then you see him and then he starts fingering it, and like she's like, it's the whole thing of us. And I sat there and we were laughing about it because I was like, I wanted to see the part where he just fucked her like that because I was like, I just want to see him like like just fucking her side,
No,
like
right,
just
right.
completely
I
like.
don't think I've ever said this before in my life, but this podcast is too weird for me right now.
It's like things have just gotten too weird. But no,
I want to
like,
understand how a kitten ended up inside her as well.
Well, it's weird because that scene had happened, and then there was a random guy that showed up on a motorcycle that walked into the place, and she's like, "It's over there," and I'm like, "Wait,
Right. Did Tony Khan book this? A bunch of random shit happening.
Like, I'm like, wait a minute. So is this not the first time she's birthed a cat? Like, I don't understand. Like, she's like, it's right there. Like, tell her I'm not doing this again or whatever. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Did the cat come
This
out
is
of
my
her
last
pussy?
kitten. Yeah.
Right. Did the cat come out of her pussy?
it came out of her. It came out of her like side rib pussy. Like it literally like came out and fell like
so was a pussy cat.
Yeah, it was a pussy cat, and it like fell like 5 feet, which probably should have been its like demise because it came out of her like rib. Oh, dude, I got.
But it also looked kind of like ET. It had like the same kind of face.
Yeah, it was like
like very odd.
Yeah, it was very weird, like alien cat like what is going on. And I mean, you're like literally your dog, as soon as we started talking about this, he went for the high seas. Like he's like, I'm out of here.
Knocked my painting over and was like, see ya.
Over. He's like, I'm out of here. And you know what? You have such a good dog, because right now my wife is upstairs with our dogs in the bedroom because they're so energized. They'd be scratching at the door and all that. Like, hey, Dad, what are you doing? Oh, you're hosting a podcast. Oh, come on, let us in. Like, we want to come in and lay on your lap and like lick the side of your face while you do your show. And yeah, like,
see, if I'm podcasting, the girls leave me alone. I've got two, the other one's hiding. But the second I'm having sex, it's like a whole other thing. They're like, oh my god, what's happening? Like,
they're just sitting there looking like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Like,
can I come up yet? Yeah.
Oh, what's happening? Oh, okay. And then like the Russian guy just comes in and is like, and now you're pissing her ass. And the dog just goes, whoa, wait a minute.
One of my dogs has taken a penchant for trying to collect condoms as well, which is a fucking nightmare because I'm like waiting for the day that she manages to swallow one and it doesn't come out the other end. And I have to get my boss to cut it out. If that happens, I'm quitting. I'm never going back. I'm not going back to my clinic if that happens. I'm done.
Or it comes out, but it doesn't fully come out. So then you're faced with the situation of trying to pull a condom out of the dog's ass because
if it gets that far, though, it's easy. Promise.
Like
on that note,
my one dog has a habit of eating my wife's beauty blenders. And there's times I'll go out in the yard and I'll go to clean the yard up, and sure enough, you see the beauty blender out there, and I'm just like, he definitely ate it, because a lot of times I'm just like, are you sure you didn't lose it? And she's like, no, he definitely ate it. And I'm like, okay,
we'll soon find out.
So what all of course, where can everybody find you, Charlie? Of course, you're all on all the social medias and all that. Where can everybody find you if anybody knows?
Yeah, I'm on I'm on all the socials. I'm on Reddit, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. I'm on the major hub websites. I'm on most of the free sites. I'm on Adult Empire and Erica Lust and Hot Movies, and I'm about to be on Pink Label. I'm easy to find. I'm just drifting around the internet constantly.
Oh crap! I forgot. I forgot that we have a blind news article read we didn't do. So all right, so we're gonna do another one real quick because we still got probably about another 10 minutes or so. If you're cool to hang out for another 10 minutes. This one is Australian police free naked man stuck inside washing machine. So this one was police in Australia have rescued a naked man who got stuck inside a washing machine while playing a game of hide and seek. The man reportedly hid inside the top-loading washing machine so he could surprise his partner. But then he became stuck, and it took 20 minutes for rescuers to dislodge him using olive oil as lubricant. So wait, so you're hiding in a top, I have a top load washer. Does it have is he hiding in one that has one of those little agitators that spin around? Did he contort his body to lay in a U inside of that?
I feel like he must have laid in a U. But also just imagine having to have a police officer gently caress your back with olive oil to lube you up.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's now he was doing that to surprise his partner. Could you imagine if his partner thought that there was laundry in the washer and they just walk up and just I don't mind, as soon as I hit start, it locks. Yeah, like he just goes down and just hits it and goes, I'll start the laundry, and then he just hears screaming in the washer, and it's like, why are the clothes screaming? Like, I don't understand. Like, and it says fighters, paramedics, and a search and rescue squad were also called to help with it. So he had the whole like fucking towns, like
they didn't really do a search.
Like they rescued him.
Where is it? Oh, he's in the washing machine.
Well, where's the washing machine at exactly? Yeah, it's downstairs, and it said the incident took place Saturday in Manrupa town, north of Melbourne in Victoria State.
Oh, well, that's my state. Really?
That might have been one of your neighbors.
Yeah. Maybe it was me.
It says few details were revealed about the man, with some reports saying he was 20 years old. Sergeant Michelle Diagro said it was a game gone horribly wrong. It's fair to say that the gentleman was very embarrassed. Well, I mean, I would be embarrassed if I had to have a search and rescue team fish my fat ass out of
sorry, but you've asked for it. If you strip yourself naked and try to hide in a washing machine, you're asking for embarrassment, because even if you didn't need rescuing, your girlfriend's going to find you and be like, this is your surprise for me. I mean, flowers, nice dinner, massage. There's a few other things before hiding naked in a washing machine that I would like, babe.
And I mean, that's the thing. It's like, how small was this man? Because it's like, I've always been a large man. Like, I've always had like broad shoulders. Like, what? There's no way I would ever be able to shove my big ass into the washer downstairs. Nor would I even think about that. Like, I've
tried to shoot pornos where the segue is I'm stuck in a washing machine or a sink or whatever. There's no fucking way I'd ever fit.
I've seen a lot of those stuck videos, but like I would assume if it was like a front facing washer, it's like, okay, you get stuck and then doggy can happen from that. But it's like, how do you get stuck in a top load? Like, how does that how does that happen? Like, it's like, okay, he's in there and then his partner just comes down. They just pour a bag of dildos into the washing machine to wash the dildos, and then he's just like, I'm in here, and they're like, oh, you're in for something now, and then they just hit start. And imagine that you're dying, but you're being sloshed around in a washer with a bunch of dicks and water, and they're just to death while you're inside the washer spinning around. Like,
you gotta go.
Yeah. And it said the police said, my advice will be for people not to climb into appliances. Obviously, that can cause a number of issues, as we've seen this weekend. Wait, there were other. Oh, I guess. I'm like, wait a minute.
At least he wasn't in the oven.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it'd be worse if he was like singing karaoke while he was in the washer. It's just kind of like, okay, these people booed me. I don't want to live anymore. I'm getting in this washer and turning myself on. I knew a guy. His cat jumped into the dryer with like a blanket in it, and he didn't realize that the cat was in the blanket, and he went to turn on the dryer because the blanket didn't dry fully the first wash. And the cat, nothing bad happened to the cat, but he heard this noise and he heard like all this screaming. And apparently it was the cat being spun around.
Yeah, it's really common.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. Like, I always like double check everything. I mean, we don't have kids or anything, but I always just double look just in case. It's like, there's no way my dog could be in here. Like, my dog's standing right next to me, but I'm still going to double check. I don't
load my washing in before I'm actually doing a load. I've never thought to do that. I always have like a laundry basket, and then I take it to the washing machine and I put it all in.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, there's people who will, put laundry, and I've seen people do this before. They'll put their laundry and start it, and then they'll leave the house. And I'm like, so wait a minute. And like, they'll come back a few hours later and then put it in the dryer. I'm like, wait, so the laundry has sat in the washer for a couple of hours after it's been done. So to me, like, I'm rerunning that. Like, at that point, like, I don't understand it. Like,
are you a clean freak?
No, I'm not a clean freak.
You just
I mean, that's
like you took it out, put it in the yard.
See, my thing is it's wet. Like, wouldn't it be like how like you have something that doesn't dry all the way and like it gets like kind of like weird or whatever. Like, I mean, I don't give a shit. Like, I mean, I wrestled for a living, and our wrestlers. Let me tell you something. Wrestlers wrestling gear are the nastiest clothing you will ever see in your life. Wrestlers do not wash their gear because of the material that it's all made out of. it's like spandex, pleather, or whatever. It's not stuff you can throw in the washer. So I
Yeah.
have went into some locker rooms that smelled so bad due to people's gear bags
Oh, yeah.
that it was just one of the most wretched smells I have ever smelled in my entire life.
Ugh.
It was insane. Yeah. So, Charlie, well, we're going to let you do. Of course, you joined us a little bit on our pre-show, which we appreciate. We're going to go ahead and let you get ready to get out of here. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. And of course, thank you for everybody who tuned in right here on YouTube and everybody listening at home on all of our major podcast platforms. We will be back here again next Friday. Live stream starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and our featured guest is rapper Young Zuck. Of course, he will be joining us next week for episode 99, and then May 7th at 5 p.m. Eastern time is our big Happy Hour podcast 100th episode, in which we're bringing back a who's who of guests. We're bringing back Alex Cole. We're bringing back a lot of our local comedian friends, everybody, and we're going to do a big fun Happy Hour pod rumble for that. And make sure you click the subscribe button, and we will see you guys next week. And Charlie, real quick, can you hang out for a second?
Of course.
Awesome. All right, so we're no longer on